First 12 hours of any walk or patrol through the woods is pretty easy. It's the next 12 hours where your kit that you're wearing starts to not be able to support you. And that next 24 hours, and to get you into 48 hours, is where you need an assault pack that's packed right to support your body and your gear, all while tempered by the knowledge you can't carry everything you want. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna take a look at an assault pack for the regular rifleman, the regular prepared citizen, the regular person that just wants to have an assault pack packed that can support them for up to 48 hours in some circumstances. So we're gonna look at, how to prevent yourself from being drastically underpacked, dramatically overpacked, and really just find that happy medium, because looking at military packing lists is easy. They carry, X, Y, Z and ABC kind of fashion, but it doesn't really work for civilian kind of what we're doing. We don't have a support structure to make up for when we're missing things like the military does. So we have to really understand what we need, what we don't need, and what we can kind of make up for not having in the first place. So let's dig into this packing list after we take a look at the pack I'm using, why I'm using it, and then we'll see everything that's hidden between pouches and behind zippers. All right, for this packing list, I'm using just a standard USGI assault pack, still in use with the US Army. Now I use this with understanding it's a little on the small side compared to a lot of the assault packs available today, and it's not quite as feature rich as a lot of assault packs, but I'm using it because of experience. Between 8 years as a forward observer in the Army, being a way overpacked, over encumbered forward observer, and not ever having what I want because I'm having to make room for radios and targeting equipment, and then 8 more years almost now in the surplus industry, messing with the assault pack, I've really just come to appreciate what it can do for me and how it limits me, because it limits me from being drastically overpacked, dramatically overpacked. I can find a happy medium, and I'm usually on the side of a little underpacked, but not in the way that I'm missing a ton of stuff. So that's why I'm using this backpack. We're gonna start with the outside of everything on this backpack, this assault pack, because that is all like my first line kit on here. To use that kind of kit parlance where we have first line, second lines. Everything on the outside is my first line stuff. So I'm gonna go to first, what I'll need first. Then we'll go to the front compartment, and then finally dig into the main compartment. So let's dig into these exterior pockets. All right, so the first pouch I have on the outside of my assault pack is an IFAK. Now for this one, could be either an IFAK or just a GP pouch. I put an IFAK here just for the case of this being something that I grab. This is all I grab along with my rifle or pistol, whatever it may be. And so that way I just have an IFAK on me no matter what. This one in conjunction with on my kit itself, this one's a little more of adds a little more for just boo-boos, Band-Aids, stuff like that. And also a splint shoved in there because I'm in the mountains. It's snowing, even when it's not snowing, having a splint in the mountains is a really good idea. So standard IFAK, nothing too crazy going on there though. Just a little plussed up with boo-boo kit supplies. All right, from there, this is the only pouch on here that's not issued. I will say that out of everything on here and kind of like tying things down, it's the only non-issued item, just because I didn't have a good issued equivalent to do it with. But in here is kind of just general purpose items that I might need to get to when I'm out and about, need to build shelter, get my tarp up, looking at maybe putting a hide site up, or just general things that I may need what's in here for. So what I have in here, I have some good duct tape. Good duct tape is a really good idea to have when you have a whole pack, because crappy tape is gonna fail you a lot quicker than just some good duct tape. I have a folding saw. Now, similar to our last video where I talked about not really carrying an e-tool around out in the mountains here, digging out here is very hard. What we're gonna be worried about is cutting down dead trees, cutting apart dead trees to get to firewood, to build shelters, and just to kind of make my life a little better. So a little folding saw and a pouch on the outside like this is a great thing, because it makes my life a lot better, and it's easy to get to because it's right out here. So folding saw. Also in here, I have just a strap. This could be a tow strap from my backpack. If I have to carry a log, tow strap's nice to have, so I can just kind of drag something. It's all taped up, nice and convenient right now. When I need it, it's easy to get out, deploy, and use it. Also need my multi-tool. Now I normally have multi-tool in my kit, but again, it's kind of a redundancy, but having a multi-tool on you, having a spare on you, if you're not carrying one right in your kit, having it here in your assault pack, but you never know when you're gonna need this, and when you need it, it's very useful. Also in here is some 550 cord, daisy chained up about 100 feet, maybe ish, 50 to 100 feet in here, somewhere in between there. This setting up my tarp, tying stuff off, having some 550 cord easily accessible is a great thing. So always have 550 cord and more than you think you should need. Only thing else in there is just a spare chem light beyond what other chem lights I have, just in case I do need it. So that's that GP pouch. This is probably the most of the stuff I'm going to use. If I'm out just normally, I'm going to be digging into this pouch quite a bit. So moving from there to the other side. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. Make sure you use coupon code ASSAULTPACK for 10% off your next order. More details below about that. Otherwise, let's get back to this video. Going back to that kind of prepared citizen, regular rifleman kind of aspect is a double magazine pouch. This is just holding 2 magazines right in there. This is that self-sustainment aspect as a civilian we really got to think about, because we don't have a support structure, you know, for shooting to really kind of resupply us. So in that disaster response situation where, you know, God forbid we have to go out and like worry about protecting our area, you know, for whatever reason, you have to carry all your ammo. Or just as a regular infantryman, carrying extra ammo, especially nowadays, you're gonna wanna do that. So having it right there, easily accessible, easily resupply the pouches on your kit is kind of a must have. So I know it's only 2, but 2 is better than none. So this can also work as a spot to make up for more, you know, GP stuff, hold another saw, bigger saw, more things like that can be held here really easily. And then going from there, just a 1-quart canteen pouch, just standard issue 1-quart canteen pouch. In here I have a 1-quart canteen. And then in here, if I can dig it out, easy enough. Is a canteen cup and a canteen cup stove. So I have an ability to heat water, and since it is winter time, you know, snow doesn't really replenish water really quick when you're melting it. A lot of snow makes a little bit of water, but I have the ability to do that, heat up my food, or maybe, especially in a survival situation, quickly building a fire in sort of a contained area that can spread to a bigger fire is really nice if the wind's kicking up. Underneath there, I do have a rag. If I need to strain some water, that initial filter, straining it through this rag is a good thing to go in conjunction with my initial water purification tablets that are in one of these accessory pockets. So I can resupply my water, fill back up, because as I've talked about in the past, we're, you know, in the Rocky Mountains. There's not a whole lot of water out here. East Coast guys, a little more lucky because water's a lot more abundant, more rivers, more ponds, more streams, more lakes. Out here, we're pretty limited on the amount of water we can access and carry. So you have to carry more and use it more wisely. So yeah. And the other accessory pocket is just some fire making supplies. So little fire starter kit, and then a couple of these quick fire starting kind of aids. So I can make a fire real quick if I need to, in pretty much any weather, as long as I can get some dry wood. So that's the exterior outside of the sleeping roll, which we'll go into next. So the next thing on here, on the outside, it's not quite a first line piece of gear I'm going to be getting to a lot, but having it on the outside makes it easy to get to when I need to get to it rather than digging in my backpack. And that is my sleeping roll. Hidden behind here on this camo net, I just have a standard issue waist pack, and that's going to carry a Ranger wool, as it's commonly known, which is bivy sack and a whoopee. I'm using 2 stuff sacks to hold everything real tight inside the waist pack. So in this one, I have my bivy sack, and here's just one of the Marine Corps bivy sacks, so it's nice and easy to use, plenty of full weather protection. And then in here is a snug pack, jungle pack, just a nice zippered whoopee at the end of the day. Now, it's worth noting it is winter out here in Colorado and the rest of the country. I know you East Coast guys are getting hit by snow for the first time and maybe ever, but so this is, you know, just barely enough to keep me warm out here. When we're talking about the patrol environment, whether it be military, civilian wise, emergency preparedness, survival, just having enough to get into to kind of keep you warm, even if you are a little cold, wearing your other layers, which we'll get into in a second, is going to be something you just, it doesn't matter what it is, you're going to use it. So getting a few hours of sleep on patrol is all this is supposed to do for me. And in a survival situation, providing some amount of shelter and sleep space to me, and, you know, protection from the elements is what this is doing. So yeah, just a basic sleep roll, basic Ranger roll, and these 2 stuff sacks. Now, if I am out here and I use this and it gets real wet, I have to dry it off. Hopefully I'm able to move from when it's raining into a drier, weather day. That's a weird sentence I just said. But hopefully it's not raining when I wake up, but if it did rain overnight, I can roll this up all together and just strap to the outside of my backpack, and it can start drying off throughout the rest of the day, throughout the rest of my walk around the woods, patrol, whatever I may be doing. So I don't have to worry about putting wet stuff back into dry sack or back into my stuff sacks. So easy way to do that. So that's the outside. That's everything on the outside. And the only other thing really going on is I have my hydration hose for my 100-ounce bladder inside here, which we'll see in a second. And then just a few other odds and ends, some one wrap. That's just nice to wrap things up. If you have a piece of gear that's failing you, one wrap can help secure it. Some extra S-beaners for tying things down. And then some extra 550 cord tie points for, like, if I have to get some wood, I can tie it off to my backpack for enough for a small fire if I'm moving around. Or if I found dry wood, but I know I'm going somewhere without wood or easily accessible dry wood, I can tie it off to me. So that's the outside of this backpack. Let's dig into the front compartment, and then we'll get into the main compartment, and that shouldn't take us too long. All right, so the front compartment on my salt pack falls into that second line kind of gear within my packing list. This is gear that I'm most likely gonna need on a daily basis. It's a little bit of resupply and stuff that I won't be able to get to easily when I have an additional moment to kind of start breaking into my backpack. So first up in the main part of this front compartment is 2 fuel strip MREs. Now that's a day's worth of food. Fuel strip MREs is not a lot for you. Any sort of similar food where it's shelf stable, you don't really need to do any preparation to eat it, is gonna be what you wanna pack in here. Nothing that requires you to have to boil water to eat it, have to really do some preparation, something you can pull out, eat it. Body heat is enough to warm it up to where it's really, tastes better, something like that. So MREs do that job pretty well though. So fuel stripping those down. Yep. Next in here is a tarp. Now, this can either go in here or in your sleeping roll for that tarp for additional protection. Let's say we do get out somewhere, the weather turns real hard, and we need to get some rain cover, some snow cover, something like that. Having a tarp is accessible right in here. Drop my pack, pull it out, start tying this thing up. It's nice and easy to get to. So this is a small tarp, another snug pack one. You'll see some more snug pack stuff as we go through just because it's really great gear. And as of filming, some of it's on sale. But yeah, also in here, basic rifle cleaning kit. This has been stripped down even barer than what it already is in here to lighten it up with some, but just enough that if I do go out, do some shooting at the end of the day, when I have a few minutes, I can get there and clean it up a little bit if I want to, get the mud, get the worst of any sort of build up on there off. Clean my barrel out if I need to. Then, also easy to get to is all my additional spare batteries. So whatever electronics I'm running, batteries for those, more than one set of spares for each piece of electronic. That way I'm good to go, easy to get to when I have the moment to change those batteries out beyond what's already in my kit or other pockets. So this is just kind of like extra backup beyond what's already on my kit. Now, inside here on the assault packs is a little compartment, and I have just extra note-taking materials, extra notepad, pen and pencil. This is where you could also put extra maps, extra GRGs, quick cards, all that stuff where it's pretty dang secure because it's behind not only a zippered flap, but you have a hook and loop flap right there. So if your backpack busts open, it's not gonna fall out immediately, but it's right there, nice and secure, easy enough to get to when you need it. That's all that's in that one. And then right here in this compartment is a mix of signaling supplies. So I have an extra rag in here, VS17 panel, which these are always good to have, especially just no matter who you are, this thing can be seen from quite a distance. So always good to have those. Spare flashlight in combination with what I already have in my pouch right here on my kit. Spare flashlight. Face paint because why not? And then some more chem lights for just in case I need them. So extra signaling supplies, extra few handy things in case I lose one, batteries run out, just want to grab the new one to be able to use it, and a little bit of things here and there. So that's the front compartment. Again, it's that second line kind of ish thought where I'm going to need this on a daily basis. Every few hours I might need to dig into here, and I want to make sure it's easy to get to. So I'm going to pack this up, and we'll finally get into the main compartment where it's not that exciting. So the main compartment, this is what's going to get me into that 48-hour kind of realm within an assault pack. It's the bulk of my actual sustainment, the bulk of things that are really going to keep me happy and support my body and the rest of me when I'm out and about doing stuff. There's not a whole lot in here though. So yeah. So first off, this is where I'm gonna keep my additional layers. So I'm already wearing my wet weather top as a cold weather top to really kind of insulate me, because it is, I think the high today was like maybe 40 and we're not anywhere near noon. So it's still pretty cold out here. So wearing one of those layers already, but I have room to drop this in there if it does warm up, and some wet weather bottoms to keep me a little warmer. Or if the weather turns, starts snowing, starts raining, having wet weather gear is really great, and it can double as function for cold weather because it traps a lot of heat. You just gotta be careful. Reference our Equix layering video if you wanna know more about how to layer. From there, in here, I have this pouch. This is extra for socks, extra t-shirt. I have a extra beanie in here in case I lose this one. And for sleep, that was a clean one too. If when I kind of get into my bivy sack and I want to get some rest, there's extra clean clothes in here if I need them, that way I can rest a little better, just be healthier. Also in here is very basic hygiene in the form of wet wipes, because out here, 48 hours, 96 hours, you're not really worried about brushing your teeth. As good as that can make you feel, you're more worried about just like keeping yourself clean and a little healthy, especially if you have to go, you know, have a nature poop or something like that. So that's all in here. Next up in here is 2 more stripped down MREs, plus some snacks, some drink mixes and stuff like that. So just some more food and sustainment to keep my body going at the end of the day. Real basic in here though, nothing crazy. Similar foods can be put in here. All, again, no preparation needed, just things that are gonna keep me going and a little bit of extra, so that way if I'm really in a slump, drink mixes are a great way to get yourself out of a slump if you're on a long movement or in between long movements, everything like that. Aside from that, the only other thing in here is a 100-ounce bladder. That is my main water supply. Now on my belt kit itself, I have a 1 quart. On the side of here, I have a 1 quart. I'm gonna be drinking out of this 100-ounce bladder first. That's the first thing I'm gonna drink out of, and then I'll go to my 1 quarts. I know some people do the opposite way, but that's the way I like to do it. Bladder first, then hit my 1 quarts. My 1 quarts are, I will not touch them on my belt kit until everything else is empty, because that's the one, if I have anything on me, my belt's gonna be on me, so I want that thing full. But that's enough about water. But like I've said before about water again, we're never gonna have enough water out in the Rockies. On the East Coast, you're a little luckier, but water's something you can't carry 2 days worth of water on you. I've done it on a short haul. Carrying a whole case of water bottles on you is not light, not easy, and it takes up a lot of room, especially if you're trying to carry an actual 2 days worth of water in a hot weather environment. And cold weather, same thing, you still gotta drink a lot of water. So you're gonna have to resupply in some form or fashion your water, or just really suck it up for 48 hours and not have enough water and be dehydrated. So, real quick before we close this video out, I did wanna give some examples of if you're in the military, or if you don't know what the military is kind of carrying, what in addition to the standard packing list you might be expected to carry. These are all things I saw carried when I was in the U.S. Army, had to carry a little myself, but just things that were already, carrying quite a bit in here, but what you might have to carry in addition, make room for and drop things you really wanted to carry to make room for what you now have to carry. So first off, this one, because it's the most fun, is like something like an AT-4. So we have Carl Gustavs in the Army, we have AT-4s, you have javelins, all these things that you may have to scale up your assault pack to nowadays, the medium rucks or the large rucks, just to be able to carry this or strap this onto it. If you're a mortarman, if you're in a 60 section at the company level, you might be carrying the tube. Another guy is carrying the base plate on their assault pack or whatever. So these large, at the end of the day, heavy items, you're gonna have to figure out a way to get it on your assault pack or whatever else you're carrying. So this alone, it's gonna add quite a bit of bulk to you, especially when you're walking through woods or dense woods or anything like that. So AT-4, going a little smaller, but things that add up very quickly. And even though they may only be a few pounds initially, those pounds start feeling a lot heavier when you're, 5, 10, 15K into a movement. E-tool, pretty basic, 2 or 3 pounds, whatever this weighs, but finding a spot for that in your assault pack, what do you have to give up to fit that in there? If you are any sort of team leader, squad leader, FO, RTO, platoon sergeant, lieutenant, a radio is gonna be what you're gonna have on you. So carrying radio batteries. So, 148 battery, 152 battery, stack a couple of these together, you got a 5590. They take up a lot of space, and for a day's worth of work, you gotta carry quite a few batteries if you're talking on the radio a lot and giving a lot of chatter out. So finding a spot to carry these, you're gonna have to do that. Civilian context, radios are pretty prevalent these days. So finding a spot for those larger batteries, if you have a larger, tactical radio, this is where you guys find room for them in your assault pack and find a spot that works, easily accessible, and not just buried deep in the main compartment. Last but not least, because one of the more fun ones is linked ammo. So this is about right over 100 rounds of linked 7.62. It doesn't weigh a whole terrible lot, but once you start folding this up in there, this is about as much room as my extra socks and t-shirt took up. So what if that's what I have to drop? Those extra items that I really want to carry on me, or this is, 1.5 of those steel strip MREs in space. So what am I gonna drop in order to fit 100 extra rounds for the crew serve guys, because you're going in an area where we want to take more than what they're, normally what 3,000 rounds is. So yeah, linked ammo. But those are a few examples that I wanted to bring out to show you. And on the military side of things, if you're a civilian and you never really understood what they're carrying or additional things they have to carry, one thing I don't have a good analog for is a man-pack tactical radio, an ASIP, a 117 Fox, a Golf, any other type of big man-pack type radio. Once you put that in here, I'm no longer able to fit quite a few things in this main compartment. Speaking from experience, it takes up all the room in that main compartment. So you're gonna have to drop quite a few things. But yeah, all right, now let's close this video out. All right, so I hope you all enjoyed this video. It's definitely been a pretty well requested video, and it took me a while to really make sure I had everything down to show off everything you can kind of carry in your assault pack in a way that makes sense for pretty much anybody. So hopefully you got something from this. I will say in a lot of videos like this, and this is from personal experience and talking to other people, is you come into these videos looking for that golden nugget information that's gonna solve all your issues. Now, if you found that, hopefully you did, that's great. But for a lot of guys, myself included, that golden nugget's pretty elusive. And you realize it's not really a golden nugget information, it's just experience that gets you where you wanna get. And that's what I'm gonna say right now is, you're only gonna get where you wanna get when it comes to packing out and carrying your gear by doing it. Pack it out, go use it, dig through it, feel the weight of it, and feel that burn on your shoulders at the end of the day after a few hours of just walking around. So that golden nugget exists. If you found it, let me know down below. If you didn't, let me know what you think it might be or what you're kind of looking for. Hopefully maybe we can answer that question in the future. But otherwise, let me know what you thought about this video, what you want to see in the future. We are planning a similar rucksack breakdown that's going to apply to the military context while wrapping heavily into that civilian prepared citizen concept, because that's what we all are at the end of the day. So yeah, leave some comments below. Let me know how you liked it, and then stay tuned for the next video. So appreciate you watching. Thanks for watching. See you next time.